What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about everything we're expecting in Season 4, some quote-unquote new modes, and even a remaster. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and make sure you have notifications on to stay up to date with everything going on in Cold War 2, Warzone, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, and any other future Call of Duty as well. It was a wild week, as you guys are fully aware of. I want to thank all you guys for the immense support on the recent live streams, reactions, the podcast, and all the videos in between as well. But don't forget, Treyarch did add in what I consider a teaser for Season 4 via the Dark Aether Mastercraft in Vanguard and Warzone, and I had fun breaking it down in a video that I have linked down below, essentially a Black Ops and Vanguard crossover since it's a heavily inspired Treyarch pack. And I also covered the long-awaited bundles which finally came out in Cold War 2, the RGB Arcade Brawl pack, as well as the Beachside Bullets Reactive bundle. I covered all that in my Stockpile review video, which is also linked down below, and don't forget, Stockpile is a unique offer since it actually combines those two bundles in Cold War, which hasn't happened too much over that game's life cycle, but it's cool to see. Now, in regards to Season 4, here's what's going on. So not much was known about the upcoming season until a couple of days ago when mysteriously some new strings were added to the Vanguard files, which were quickly ripped through by the usual suspects online. They post early information and they reported about everything we should be expecting, but don't forget, take it all with a grain of salt. Some of the content may be scrapped, could be misinterpreted, and there's definitely going to be even more content on top of all of that, which will end up getting revealed in an official blog post and trailer, hopefully in some marketing that comes out next week. I'd expect them to start teasing some of the Season 4 content at least by the middle of next week, but you never know what the schedule is with Vanguard these days. Now, the in-game Battle Pass timer does still say that the season starts in 10 days from now, so at around June 21st or even the 22nd, we should be getting the start of the brand new season. But don't forget, with how all the Vanguard seasons work, I think some of the release schedules have been a bit off, a bit wonky in comparison to how consistent they were for Modern Warfare 2019 and even Black Ops Cold War. But starting off with maps. So the only map that seems definite for the start of Season 4 is what's being called USS Texas 1945. Yes, a classic multiplayer map from World War II 2017, which definitely isn't my favorite, but it's iconic enough to the point where you could point out rather quickly where that multiplayer map is from. I think everybody at least recognizes this multiplayer map from Sledgehammer's last Call of Duty. Would have definitely preferred London Docks, which funny enough has been rumored for many months now, but it's unclear if that's a part of the supposed list of scrap multiplayer maps that just aren't going to see the light of day. And it looks like this will be the only new multiplayer map, or if you want to call it new, at the start of the season, since in the list of strings that were posted, this was the only new map listed. And if you go off of how previous Vanguard seasons have worked, they're typically only dropping one map at the start of a season and then one additional map during the mid-season updates. I just think it's crazy how Cold War set the bar with dropping like 2 to 3 maps at the start and at least 1 to 2 during the mid-season. It was awesome how that worked, but Vanguard definitely isn't going to receive that treatment. Hopefully Modern Warfare 2 ends up doing that though, because that's always great when it comes to the multiplayer community. But don't worry, there were some codenames found a little while back for other upcoming multiplayer maps, which I don't believe have released just yet. We have something called Liberty, Malta Fort, and then Downcast. Those are the code names, not the actual names of what the maps will end up being, but maybe one of those will be included at some point in Season 4 Reloaded. Now, there is speculation going around that Malta Fort could be Fort St. Angelo, which is what Terrace is based off of over in Advanced Warfare. So maybe this could be a World War II era version of Terrace, right? Or maybe like a 1940s or 1950s version of that classic map. And that would be cool, because I think if Vanguard ended up getting all of the content it was supposed to, we would have definitely saw so many maps, not just World at War or World War II, but even a new take on some maps that I think played very well back during Advanced Warfare and could still work for primary boots on the ground gameplay. When it comes to game modes, we do have information regarding Gun Game, Bare Bones, Camper's Nightmare, Big Map Mosh Pit, Big Map Blitz, and hopefully even more. There were a lot of rumors and even leaked gameplay of Gunfight supposedly working in Vanguard multiplayer, but that is seemingly scrapped. Now, the only game mode you guys are probably unfamiliar with is Camper's Nightmare. So the description for it was posted, and it says, enemies highlighted when in sight, radar always on, no kill streaks, dead silence and ninja are restricted, happy hunting. So that actually sounds like a lot of fun, and I think a problem I've always had with MW 2019 and definitely Vanguard is something always feels off about the TTK, the weapon balancing, and obviously camping is a problem based on some strange map design. So I think this mode should hopefully keep up the pacing a little bit with Vanguard multiplayer, even though the combat pacing system already improved that quite a bit, which I give Sledgehammer props for. It's also a feature that's been very popular with the COD community and is scheduled to come back at some point in Modern Warfare 2. Now, I think a problem I've had with the past couple of seasons of Vanguard, as I pointed out dozens of times, is that not only have they felt very Warzone centric, but I don't think a map or two and then a weapon or two are gonna cut it for post-launch updates in Vanguard. I think what really makes a post-launch season special for a Call of Duty game is not only when you add in a weapon or a map, and yeah, that's important 100%, but changing up the menu, adding in some game modes, spicing things up, and also a bunch of surprises. So hopefully the roadmap is filled with a fair amount of content for each game. However, it's probably unlikely, but we'll end up finding out how that's going to be marketed in the next couple of weeks when this does get promoted over on Twitter. Now, when it comes to weapons, right now there were some references found to 2 new ARs, 1 melee weapon, and even a pistol, right? Not much is known about what specifically they are, but there have been some rumors floating around about an EM1 or the M1, which is going to be an AR that's kind of the predecessor to the EM2, which is a weapon that's, funny enough, featured in Black Ops Cold War. So I'm curious what weapons you guys want to see. Let me know down below in the comments what weapons from World War II 2017, whether they're base weapons or DLC weapons, should return in Vanguard, and do you even care? I mean, so far they've added some pretty cool DLC weapons to the game, which also translated pretty well over into Warzone, so I give them props for that. But as of right now, there's not much information floating around about the specific weapons, unlike last year or even the year before, where all new DLC weapons are typically data mined pretty frequently. Now, when it comes to new operators, that I believe are going to be the 3 that come out in Season 4, right now we have information about the Butcher, somebody named Callum, and then somebody named ICYMI. So the Butcher being a playable operator is pretty huge. Maybe this is an indication that the post-launch story for Vanguard will actually pick up where I want to say Season 1 kind of left off, where Butcher is narrating a story to the Cold War crew, right? Mason, Woods, Adler. Maybe that's going to be important, and then because of that, Butcher's going to be like, yeah, the next part of the story after King Kong and Godzilla, I actually jumped into the fight and I was facing XYZ, and then that'll explain why Butcher's a playable operator in the upcoming season, even though he was already on the ground, on the field with some of these task forces already. Maybe he's actually himself going to play an important role and do something that would warrant him becoming playable. I still find it funny that he was never a playable operator in World War II 2017, and it was brought to my attention that his model's not even in World War II's files anymore. He was only really featured as a part of like events and whatnot, special occasions, but I'm surprised you can't even rip his model anymore, which is very strange, but I guess he's getting a brand new model here with Vanguard, so better late than never. But it's also strange how Season 2 of Vanguard kind of had us at around 1946, I believe, and now we're at around 1951 thanks to Operation Monarch. So what happened in those 5 years? It's like, are we just going to ignore those 5 years? Are they not important? I mean, now that we're in the 50s, I guess you could say you could start leaning more towards what happened with Task Force Vanguard, who hasn't really been relevant at all in the post-launch story, because the post-launch story takes place before the actual campaign does. So it's been weird to see that the characters they wanted us to really care about and treat as iconic in this game haven't really played a role whatsoever. So I'm wondering if they're going to make a comeback at any point in maybe Season 4, Season 5, at least through the cutscenes, right? I know it's different because they decided not to drip feed any of the operators or the main characters this time around. And when I say drip feed, I mean carefully release certain people during certain seasons. I mean, Modern Warfare did it where, yeah, you had a season for Ghost, then Alex, then Captain Price, and then you had Birch, and then it was Farah. But then in Cold War, I think it was interesting how the only character that we really wanted to play as for a while was Mason. They saved the best for last, I guess, even though Mason hasn't gotten any really good skins yet. He's about to release soon, sure, but I think it's crazy how the way Cold War did it, they're like, all right, we're gonna save Mason for Season 6, but to avoid getting people pissed off, let's go ahead and drop some really iconic new villains as like the main characters for Seasons 1 through 5, and to me it worked out perfectly. So the way Vanguard did it was like, all right, let's drop Task Force Vanguard all at launch. So at that point it's like, all right, now we have to make some really original and likable characters to sell these operator packs and battle passes throughout the seasons, but they really haven't done that, or have they? So I'm curious what the direction is going to be if they do bring back Task Force Vanguard in the next season or two. Now I'm going to remind you guys again that it's being claimed by several different gaming scoopers and leakers out there that Vanguard might be the king of canceled content. There was so much content planned for this game that just isn't going to happen, and I feel like if they had gotten their stuff together after Christmas break and really fixed a lot of the core issues with this game, I think people out there still would have been interested. But it's like I mentioned a bunch of times now, it still feels like we are on Christmas break, as if the devs haven't come back yet, as if they forgot about the game. And it's really sad to see, because this is a game that somehow launched in a better state than it is today. And that's weird, because how did more updates make the game worse? Or better yet, how did more updates lead to less interest in the game? Something's not right there, and it's sad to see, but Activision has to cut their losses and truly move on at this point. There's nothing really they could do about it. And I also want to mention Weapon Inspect, because it was confirmed in some recent patch notes that Weapon Inspect will be rolled out to more weapons, or all weapons I should say, in a couple of weeks. Hopefully that's the start of Season 4 if I had to take a guess there, because right now you are able to inspect ARs, pistols, I think some melee weapons, but other weapon classes don't let you inspect them. However, it still is a quote-unquote paid feature via bundles. If you have a Mastercraft or a cool blueprint that's reactive for like an SMG, for an LMG, a sniper, it will let you inspect. Sometimes it's buggy, sometimes it doesn't even work, period, but it's been a very weird feature that they haven't really talked too much about, and I think it was something that actually rolled out on some weapons back during Season 2, but quickly got taken away and turned into a paid feature via microtransactions. So luckily, it's better late than never. Season 4 is a decent time to drop Weapon Inspect, I guess you could say. At least it's sooner than how they did it in Modern Warfare 2019, since in that game it took about 5 seasons to add that in. But when it comes to zombies, it's really interesting, because we have what is being codenamed Swamp of Death. I'm not sure if that's going to be the name of the map. I think Numa Reborn is the name of the map, but Swamp of Death is like a code name for it, or is it going to be the playlist name, or the name of the Easter egg. Not sure exactly how that's going to work, but a description for it did surface, which says the Swamp of Death holds the key to defeating Von List and his undead Reich. Build the Wonder Weapon, find the relic, and expose the hidden horror of Cortifix's past. Now, I have a separate zombies video planned over the next couple of days. Definitely a lot to talk about when it comes to that mode, but this description doesn't really scream that it's the last map, especially considering a couple of weeks ago it was found that there is something called ZM_green, which you presume is Numa, and something called ZM_red. Those two codenames were added to the Vanguard files not too long ago, giving us indication there's at least 2 round-based maps coming to the game, and the game's lifecycle will end with 2 objective maps, which is Duran Fung, Terra Maledicta, and then 2 round-based maps, right? One is Numa, the next one is probably going to be some type of full-force Dark Aether experience. Maybe that's what's going to happen, and they'll probably just build upon the Void objective that's already in Terra Maledicta, which is in the Dark Aether, similar to how Numa Reborn is just building upon the Numa Void objective that's in Duran Fung. But if it is the last map, then so be it. Treyarch will have more resources to devote into their 2023 rumored free-to-play project, as well as Black Ops 2024, so I'm cool with that. But if it's not the last map, then hey, more zombies is more zombies, right? We'll take the extra content. I mean, it's not the best content, but it's for a good reason, right? We already know that Treyarch shouldn't have been working on this game at all. They shouldn't even be working on zombies this year, aside from any Year 2 updates they want to do in Cold War. But because they have to work on Vanguard zombies, this is what we're going to get. This is what they're able to produce in a timely manner while trying to get used to the new Modern Warfare engine, which they didn't have time to really adjust to. Now, when it comes to Warzone, we also don't know very much about what's going to happen in Season 4, but it has been teased quite a bit by Raven that not only was Season 3 Reloaded one of the biggest updates for Warzone yet in terms of quality of life improvements, which I really like, by the way. I think there's some great improvements to the HUD. The game feels a lot cleaner. I mean, the looting is a lot better. They made some really important changes, which I'm definitely on board with. And moving over to PC has been an absolute night and day difference. I mean, Warzone just feels and plays like a different game. And I've actually had a blast hopping on Rebirth. I mean, didn't really feel that way when I was on console, but seriously, if you haven't played PC Warzone yet, try to do that ASAP. But aside from that, they teased that Season 4 will also bring some massive changes to Caldera. So that's exciting, right? Because I think people out there definitely want to see some important changes in Caldera regarding the foliage, regarding peak, regarding other points of interest. So I think Season 4 is a good opportunity for that. And we'll see. If it's a Warzone-centric season, expect some big changes. But if it's not, I would say Season 4 Reloaded is probably going to be when we end up getting even more bigger changes into Warzone's life. Because Warzone's life isn't really got that much time, right? Warzone 1 is coming to an end at some point this fall before the release of Warzone 2. It'll always remain playable, but they're just going to leave it as is after they add a couple more updates to it. Now, I definitely am wondering what's going on with the Vanguard Zombies mask mastery camos, right? Why aren't they available in Warzone yet? And when will they be? Because by the time they add them in, everyone's gonna be like, all right, goodbye, we're moving on to Warzone 2 now. Those camos are irrelevant. We can't use those in Warzone 2. So it's really weird to see what's going on with that. It took a long time to add Dark Aether camos last year during Cold War's life cycle, and Raven did say it was a goal to try to get the Vanguard ones out in less than 6 months. That's likely not gonna happen, but it was brought to my attention that people who have Atomic camo in Vanguard still don't have access to the camo. It's just locked for them, so that's something that should immediately be fixed, hopefully at the start of Season 4, because if not, it'll be sad to see these camos finally get fixed or added when it's like a month away from the launch of Warzone 2. That just would be redundant, but let's see what happens really soon. But the last thing I'll end with is that I truly do hope when this game's life cycle is over, whether it's Season 5, whether it's a Season 6, Sledgehammer updates us with exactly what went wrong. I know they can't really talk too much about things behind the scenes, but at least they could say, hey guys, we tried something different, it didn't work out, we didn't get to live up to our vision, we apologize, or something, right? Say something, and then tease whatever they have in the pipeline, right? Because clearly, if they've done all this expansion with Sledgehammer, they open up all these new studios around the world, clearly Vanguard is not the product that reflects that. I think everybody's fully aware of that, so hopefully they come out and say, hey guys, we're working on something that we're gonna drop in 2023, or something XYZ. Hopefully something is said, because there have been rumors for years that Sledgehammer was gonna be leading a free-to-play COD project that included building, but now there's a rumor that Treyarch's actually leading a free-to-play project which features like a map editing and is also zombies related. So if that's the case, maybe Treyarch took over that project as well from Sledgehammer, and Sledgehammer is going to be working on something else going forward. It's completely unknown. We know they are at least helping with Modern Warfare 2. I'll talk more about what I think could fill the void if there isn't a Season 6 for Vanguard, because I think it might be related to Black Ops Cold War, but I'll save that for a different day. Now that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on everything we're expecting in Season 4 for Vanguard and Warzone? Obviously, this is just the rumored and leaked content as of right now. There's going to be a bunch more official content that we'll be talking about when the marketing hopefully begins at some point next week. Also, what are your thoughts on the quote-unquote new game modes and even the surprise remastered multiplayer maps? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.